Hey, it's me, Shane, Gemini Garage, and today we're going to go over this really cool Slash A.F.D. or Appetite for Destruction signature guitar here. Before I get into that, my first little video or venture into guitars is a video series called The Three Chibsons. Check that out if you're into that kind of stuff. That really was sort of an accidental rabbit hole. If you would have asked me 3 or 4 months ago, did I plan on buying 3 of those guitars and doing a video on that, I would have said what? That was not my intention. So that was sort of that was an impulse buy that didn't work out, and then I got another one, and then that went down the rabbit hole. So anyways, you can watch the video on that if you're a little more interested in that. However, that did also lead me to purchasing this thing here. So while there's a lot of controversy over those, I knew there was some controversy over the Chibsons. I didn't really realize quite how much. So hopefully I have redeemed myself by purchasing this here. And this is really a neat guitar. And I'm kind of just trying to, I'm not really trying to turn myself into a guitar channel either. I'm not doing that. I may upgrade my areas for doing guitar videos a little bit, but I don't plan on becoming a guitar channel. I will leave that to the players that are much better than I am, with much more professional videography skills than I have. So, but I did kind of want to broaden the umbrella of my channel just a little bit. I've found that guys my age, probably most guys between 35 and 40 and up, probably grew up, dirt bikes, ATVs, cars, four-wheel drives, guitars, martial arts stuff, all that kind of stuff. So that's, radios. So those are all the kind of the things that I've just sort of decided to incorporate into my channel. Instead of just going after one thing and just beating that to death, I'm really not into anything modern enough to go after it like that, so I'm going to have to kind of diversify, which is really not good for the algorithms and drawing in specific audiences to things, but that's okay. I'm not trying to be any kind of YouTube giant. I'm just trying to come out here and do my thing and hopefully kind of create something that's kind of cool and has something for everyone. So with that, I'm going to get into this thing a little bit further here. And there she is. Absolutely gorgeous guitar. I don't know if I just got lucky and got a really nice one, or if they really put their heart and soul into making this particular model. But man, I'm telling you, this thing is... I already tore this apart side by side with the other ones. And honestly, when I first got it, it didn't play or sound any better. It obviously looked better and felt better and was still, you could tell it's a higher quality instrument, but it didn't play any better. And this pickup here was jacked all the way up to where it was almost touching the strings, and the bridge was too low, and so it had a pretty good buzz going on. I think it's got maybe a fret that's a little on the high side, but the action was pretty jacked, so I don't know. Again, this guitar is used. I believe it's a 2021 model. And I originally got this as something to kind of compare against the Chinese imports that I got. They do make a Chinese import version of this. And I thought about getting one of those and doing a comparison too, but I really do not feel like buying another Chinese knockoff guitar. And that comparison against one of these and a real Gibson's already been done like 10 times, I think, anyway. So I really do not feel like buying any more Les Paul or Les Paul style guitars right now. But I'm glad I got this one. It's a gorgeous guitar, that's for sure, as you can see. But yeah, so anyways, that's kind of what's going on with this thing here. Like I said, it wasn't playing very well, and then I raised that bridge up, and that really woke it up. So I'm going to go ahead and take the strings off and probably end up just kind of tearing this thing down again and kind of doing a setup on it. Check the frets, level those, and just kind of, oil the fretboard and just kind of do all that stuff. So that's kind of what I'm going to do with this video. Just kind of going to check it out, look at it, maybe set it up a little bit and kind of get the bugs out of it, and that'll be that. So Hope you enjoy the video. Click the like and subscribe if you think about it, and let me reposition my stuff here, and we'll get at it. Stick with me. Okay, so what I've decided I'm going to do is, just for the hell of it, even though I've already done it, I'm just going to flip the thing over real quick, buzz the covers off the back, show you what's in there. Like I said, even though I already did that. So I'm going to take the strings off and put new strings on and all that. May as well. This is a good platform for doing that anyways. Get a little of this buffing compound off of here. Pick this up and blow it out real quick here. Best way to get that stuff off is just to take like a damp toothbrush, a soft bristled toothbrush, maybe like one of your old toothbrushes or something, and get to taking this one off here. Covers can be a pain, but if they fit right or are a little bit loose, not so bad. And kind of the same thing up here with this one. Some of it there's just not a lot of color there, and some of it there's a little bit of compound there. Alright, so let me see if I can look in here. These are CTS pots. So you got your 2 orange caps here, 4 CTS pots, your plug style connectors, and then there's the wiring is shielded. See? Very nice. Very nice. Very well done. Very clean route. Looks like these kind of have a quality control signature on them of some kind, it looks like. So it looks like maybe this hole here, they got it drilled a little bit kind of close here, but if that's the only thing that's really wrong with it, I ain't gonna curse them for that. Alright, let's see, I always put these things on there wrong, so yeah, that ain't no big deal. So anyways, there you go. CTS pots, orange caps, shielded wiring, and plugs to plug and unplug your pickups. So there you go. Looks good. The wiring in it looks a lot nicer. You know, it's smaller wires instead of those great big chunky wires it's like in the Chibsons. So alright, let me reposition this here. I should always put these things in by hand on something that's nice like this. You have some nice sharp fresh bits on your screwdriver ends, and if you don't, or you got screws that are kind of crappy, because it's really easy to booger these screws up, you know, just buy yourself some new screws. They're the same for this as they are for that, so definitely a much better feeling instrument than the Chinese knockoffs or the Chibsons. Now, having said that, like I said, that really wasn't entirely fair. I kind of was looking for something that was, you know, I kind of had it in my head for a long time. Epiphones were, you know, $500-600 for something that was kind of a Gibson Les Paul clone. And now they're like $6.99, and they're the newer modern ones that have like the cut in the heel, and they're lighter, have lightning down inside. If you want something that's more traditional like this, then you're kind of in the price range of what these are new, which is like, you know, $1,200, $1,300 bucks. And I got to tell you, they're freaking worth it at that for what guitars are. I mean, I know we're in this day and age now where you can get like these awesome ass guitars for $200, $300, $400, $500, and if you're paying more than $500 or $600, it needs to have like, you know, it needs to be like something really special. But I think if you're, once again, if you're getting something that's really, really nice, and you know it's really nice through and through, then it's worth the money. So. These are nice guitars, but like I said, on the used market, you can find these things for about half price of what they were new, and that's a damn good deal, I think. So, if they're mostly as clean and as well assembled as this one has been so far. So, we checked out our pickups and our switch. Good to go there. Everything good to go. The only little thing was that little hole was drilled a little bit off, but that's you know, really not a big deal. So anyways, what are we going to do here? I guess we could, we're going to take the knobs off. I guess we might as well just take the knobs off. These knobs come off really easy. You can see the plastic in there is almost kind of stripped a little bit. These things maybe need to be spread out. Let me see if spreading this out just a little bit helps. Hopefully it'll help and not just break. Sometimes that happens, and that really sucks when that happens. And I probably have to put a piece of tape around here or something in there. I mean, I just have to get a new knob, but that knob's a little bit loose. But it's a little bit chewed up in there, so it's I'm not really going to blame, not really blaming the knob or the guitar. Could have happened with the previous owner. It's the only one that really seems to be like that. So, yeah, we could fix that. Probably don't even have to buy a new one. Just stick a piece of tape or something, or put a little bit of glue or something in there and take care of it. Well, that one's definitely tight, that's for sure. Okay. And since I am going to be putting new strings on here, mostly what I'm going to be focusing on, obviously, is, you know, the fretboard and what's going on with that. So these screws here, these tailpiece bolts, I guess, that are slot-headed, the slots on these things are not all the same. The ones I'm pretty sure on the Chinese imports, or the Chibsons anyways, the slot's just a little bit wider. Not much, barely enough to see, but a little bit. I'll try and get one off of one of those other guitars and get one of these together and see if there's some way to kind of measure them or show you that it looks like these are just a little bit narrower. Or maybe this has, maybe they're the same damn screw, but this has got a lot thicker chrome job, you know, plate job on it. I don't know, who knows. So anyways, I'm going to go down here and loosen up the strings real quick. I don't like cutting the strings off the guitars, especially nice ones with nice finishes, because you might end up scratching it. You know, there are little pieces of metal popping off of there, so. Okay. And I'm just going to take a rag. This screwdriver will fit in here, but in the interest of being nice to these slots, I'm just going to put this rag in over the screwdriver here. These things aren't in there very tight, so I just needed to turn them a couple turns. I could probably turn it by hand. See if I can turn it by hand. Yep. Alright, and now I'm just going to pull this thing off with the strings here. Okay. I have no idea what size or what gauge these strings are. But anyway, so I got the strings off, got the tailpiece off, and that's what the tailpiece looks like. And it does have the Epiphone stamped on the bottom of it. So I think this piece here and this bridge piece are probably the same as the cheap imports, but they have a better chrome job, finish job, and they've got the Epiphone name stamped on them. So, and by the way, this here is a very, very tight fit. I mean, it's really like no slop at all in there. Very nice. Gotta wiggle it good and pull it straight up to get them off of there. And again, it says Epiphone on it. And I got one of those other cheap Chinese ones that I have some video of me kind of comparing it to. Might throw that in here. Or I may just get another bridge and throw it in here. So there we go. We've got the tailpiece off and the bridge off. So we got our 2 screws here, or bolts, slot-headed bolts, whatever you want to call them. That's what you got going on there. It looks like a thumb wheel, but it isn't. I mean, it's all one piece on here. And like I said, the ends of some of those cheaper Chinese ones, you know, they got the bevel on the side here, but they just really are not very rounded up here like these are. These just have a little bit more of a rounding to them. And again, I got some video of that when I tore it apart the first time. If this doesn't turn out, then I'll throw that in the mix there. So, anyways, that's what you got going on there. I checked all the nuts on the pots there, and they all seem nice and tight. The inserts here are all flat, level, straight. They all look good. I'm just going to go ahead and whiz off the pickups and show you those real quick, just since I'm already here. And when I said a very slight difference in size, that's what I meant right there. You can see this one's got a little bit more of a shoulder on it there, but they're almost the same size. So the shorter one's these top 2 here. So like I said, just an FYI, keep an eye out for you, because it's really easy to mix those up. And not such a big deal to take and put this screw in one of these holes, but you really don't want to accidentally put one of these longer ones in one of these more shallow ones, because you don't really need to be boring new threads. So anyways, like I said, just a quick FYI there for you. And so all of our screws are out. We got these 2 screws here, which are our pickup up and down. Like I said, when I got this thing, these were okay. They were pretty level, pretty flat, but these here were jacked all the way up to where they were almost touching the string. So whatever, right? So here we go. There's the pickup cavity there. Got our QR code there. There you have it. That one's a PBCNHZCN-C2. And this one is the PBCNHZCB-C2. So I'm going to whiz these things back in real quick. Well, not super quick. I want to take your time a little bit. Put them in by hand. You don't want to strip these holes out. Not on something that's nice anyways. Like I said, those 2 shorter ones go in the top there, and then all the rest of them are the same. And I just went and put 2 of the longer ones. Oh no, I didn't. Oh, apparently there's a, okay. Apparently all 4 of these are shorter. Man, I'm really losing it. Okay, so all 4 of these screws here, there's not just 2 screws that are shorter, there's 4 of them that are shorter. So for some reason I thought there was only 2. It's because, oh, there's one of the other guitars, that's why. One of the other guitars, that 59 standard Chibson one, all the screws on it are the same except for the top 2. I was thinking on this it's the same thing, but no, on this one it's all 4 on these pickups are a little bit shorter. Alright, we got those back in there. Just so we don't lose anything, I'm going to go ahead and just screw our tailpiece bolts back in here. I don't know if I mentioned too, but this tailpiece has the little springy clips on here. So it holds the pieces in there like that, so that's real nice. I'll just screw those down till they're snug. Put our bridge piece back on here. And I'm going to go ahead and just screw these down in here too, because there's no need to have them laying around. All the threads on this stuff is good. Everything's working just fine. So we'll just go ahead and put these things about where they were. Okay, and I think we'll put our knobs back on too. Let's see here. We're on 10. That one's on 10. That one's on 10. The easiest way to do it is just to turn them all the way up, which is counterclockwise or clockwise as far as they'll go, and then put the pointer on 10. Okay, and that's how I usually keep, because I only use this pickup. I use these 2 turned wide open and then turn these 2 off. And then that keeps my treble switch dead too if I want to use my use the toggling effect. Alright, so we got this back together down here. Well, that feels a little bit loose there, so let's check this out here. Just a little loose, no big deal. It's on there straight, just a little bit loose. I'm sure there is appropriate wrench for that, and I do not have one, so I will either get one or I will very delicately do it off camera in a way that you would probably cringe if you saw me do it, but I set our bridge back on here too. This one, for what it's worth, came on here with the screws pointing that way, like Gibson's do, I believe. Alright, so there we go. We took our covers off on the back and we checked out our switch here. That looks good. We checked out our pots. Those are good. CTS 500K pots there. All of our bridge tail pieces look good. The bolts and posts and everything are all good. Everything's finished really well. The threads are all good. Check the pickups out. They're all good. The cavity's good. Wiring good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to check out the neck, and we're going to see if we got any high frets. We're going to see how flat it is. We're going to check out our truss rod situation. There was no truss rod in the case. I don't know if they come. I'm thinking they come with a truss rod wrench probably, but maybe they don't. I don't know. But I'm guessing a guitar like this would. I mean, the cheap ones do. So no truss rod wrench in there, but we're going to take this cover off and we're going to see what we got going on in there. So I'll be back. I got to go grab some tools. Okay. I'm going to zip this truss rod cover off while I'm thinking about it here. Another good idea why it's good to have a case even if you don't have one that came with the guitar, to get one, is because, you know, if you got a project going on with it or you're doing something with it, you can keep it in the parts, and otherwise stuff starts getting lost. Okay, well, there's our truss rod cover there. Nothing fancy. And there's our truss rod route. Definitely a lot cleaner than the Chibsons, the Chinese knockoffs, the imports. See if I can shine some light in there. So, I'm going to just see what we got here for the flatness of the fretboard here. Let's see what we got. Check out this fretboard here and let's see what we got here. Alright, I'm going to have to kind of get down here under the camera, under the tripod here, so I can see this. Looks pretty flat to me. I mean, I don't see any light anywhere. It looks perfectly flat. And it seems like with the strings on it had just the tiniest bit of relief. So that's probably about right. Definitely not jacked up like a lot of the other guitars I've gotten here. But then again, this one's used, so I just didn't necessarily know whether or not the fretboard would be flat because, like I said, there was the action was a little bit jacked. So, and there's no truss rod wrench with it. So, all right. So, I found an Allen wrench that goes in there, and it's not on a spot where it's going to go in there straight up. I'm either going to have it going that way, or I'm going to have it going this way. But that's about as far as it'll go. So I'm just going to see if I can move it this way and then move it back. So let's see if we can. Yep, it moves. It moves the next flat and I'm satisfied, so good to go there. I'm happy with that. I had another truss rod, another Allen wrench that I put in there, and it didn't seem like it fit in there very well. And then, I mean, it's stiff. It's not creaky, cringy, or anything wrong with it, but it's a little bit stiff. But it's working fine, so we're good to go there. So let's see what's going on with our frets. Let's see if we got any fret rock and roll going on here. Maybe just a little bit on this one here. Oh, let's check that again. Well, maybe not. Hold on here. This fret rocking tool is kind of cheap, so I got to make sure I'm on the flat edge of the tool, maybe. Alright, the camera was getting so bored it shut off. So, yeah. This isn't the greatest fret rocker in the world either. You know, maybe there aren't any high frets on it. That one maybe just a tiny little bit. We'll try tapping that one back down in there. I got one of these little mallets here. Great for stuff like this. And we'll give it a tap. Tap, tap, tappy, right? Okay, so I can't... if there is a high fret here, it's really, really slight. This is an extra fret long, so it's not going to rock right. But putting this thing on there and looking underneath there, I can't really see any light anywhere on any of these other ones. So it's pretty damn close. So what I'm going to do is just polish them, clean them up really good, and I'm just going to spend a little extra time cleaning and polishing on these couple right here and call it a day. So real quick, I'm going to grab some really fine grit sandpaper, and I'm going to go through the channels of the nut real quick here. All right, the camera shut off, so that might have gotten lost. But again, I was just had some 1500 grit folded over. I was just basically going through these slots here. Again, you just kind of want to, I've got it folded over. You just kind of drag it through the slots a little, so you're just kind of polishing all the sides a little, and then the edges where it kind of comes out, you kind of want to you know, sort of make it so that this right here isn't going to catch the string, you know, where it comes out, because you got to remember these strings on some of these kind of come out and they kind of go to an angle there, and so you kind of want to sand the slot. You don't want to really sand the whole slot to an angle, but just that very little part there where it comes out, just kind of put just a little bit of a chamfer on that there. Just kind of drag it straight through, and then just kind of roll it that way just a little bit, and that way a little. That way, either way, it's got a little bit of a mouth there. You know, like your mother-in-law. Oh! Just kind of do that on all of them. More so on these end ones, because that's where the... well, actually, you want to do it on all of them, because they've all got an angle going, so just do it on all of them. And make sure you don't have any sharp edges here. Just kind of run it over there. Okay. And then we'll put something in those slots there to kind of lubricate it a little bit before we put the strings back on. And again, another shot of the nut slots there. You're just basically wanting to, like I said, just create a little bit of a break there for the string to come out, so the string won't, as the string's coming out at an angle, you don't want it binding, you know, on the end of the slot there. So you just put a little chamfer, a little 45-degree angle, you know, on each one of them, and that should do you all right. Okay, so before I start getting ready to go to town on these frets and this fretboard, I'm going to take in some more of these rags here. And alright, so since I'm really not going to have to go too wild or do any kind of fret job, I'm just taking the same 1500 and kind of putting it on this fret file here, and I'm just going to kind of run it across the tops of them all just to kind of clean anything on there that might be off of there. And this fretboard's pretty dry. I'm not going to worry about taping it all up. It's not going to absorb anything. I'm just going to, like I said, just kind of very lightly go over the tops of these things. Maybe spend a little bit more time on this one right here. Yeah. It just rides in the groove there, so that's working. It's doing what I want it to do. Not taking too much off, really. It's just going to take that nice top layer off there. Now you might want to tape up your fretboard here. I mean, it just depends on how steady your hand is, you know, and everything else with this kind of stuff. Definitely want to take your time, and you definitely don't want to screw it up. You want to, you know, try and just take your time. I'm going to switch this paper over a little bit here. Alright, I just needed to find my little bottle of alcohol here. I'm just going to kind of rub it down these frets here and see if I get anything off of here. Guess I'm wiping the fretboard off a little bit too. Yeah, a little bit of crap on there. All right. So now what I'm going to do is just take some of this never dull stuff and just kind of hit these frets with it a little bit. They already feel a lot smoother than they did just from hitting them with that. Wow. But like I said, you can tape all these off and use a Dremel, and you can really do a high polish fret, but I'm just kind of, you know, just kind of going to do a quickie fret polish on them, because I think that's really all it needs. And I've got so many other projects to do. That's kind of why if you'll watch the other video or even this one, it's kind of why I'm trying not to leave these. I wanted to just take all those guitars apart and check them out and then get them back together. I did not want to have 3 or 4 guitars all apart needing to be put together, and I just didn't, you know. It makes a difference sometimes. You don't want to have stuff. Sometimes when stuff is apart, then parts get lost, and then you end up with trouble there. And now, as you're doing this, you're going to be getting some of this on the fretboard, but that isn't any big deal because the stuff that's in here isn't going to hurt the wood, and you're going to go over it with some oil anyway. So. This fretboard's definitely dry. Here. Turn this thing frequently so you're not just re-rubbing all the same dirt into it. Alright. I'm just going to spread this around a little bit on here, and then I'm going to let it sit, and I'm going to go over it a couple times. Alright. Okay, I'm just going to let that sit and soak in, and they always look nice when they got a nice fresh coat of oil on them, huh? Alright. I didn't touch this. All that oil just basically kind of just absorbed into the fretboard on its own, so I'm just going to call that good. Just wipe it off a little bit here. Doesn't really need to be wiped off. The inlays have a little oil on them, so we'll wipe them off. Wipe the frets off. May have some oil on the back side of it here. Alright, I'm going to wipe this off really good right here too before I put strings back on it. This always gets so dusty here and you can't really... Okay, so real quick, I went ahead and took these rags out of here. I'm going to go ahead and... I did throw the truss rod cover on real quick. I decided I'm going to take this inside to put the strings on it, and I didn't want to lose the screws or have them falling all over in here and whatever. I just decided to throw it back on. So close her up, and we're going to continue this inside. So just a second. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and replace these with some of the Super Slinkies here. These are the Ernie Ball Super Slinkies, and these are 9, 11, 16, 24, 32. Doesn't seem to have any buzzing here. The heights for these is 4/64 on the 12th fret. Excuse me, 4/64 on the 12th fret on your high E string, and then the low one here is 6/64. And they were a little bit low when I first got the strings on, and then I just raised it up a little. Best thing to use is just one of these things here, and it's pretty close. I don't think the action is overly high or wonky on it, so I think we're doing pretty good there. I mean, it might be a little bit closer to 7, but like I said, it seems to be working okay. I'm just going to kind of leave it for now, and I'll fine tune it, you know, as time goes on. But I'm going to take the restringing video. I'm going to just have that probably in a separate video, because nobody probably wants to sit and go through all of that. And if they do, they can just, you know, watch it in a separate video instead of having to. This video is already long enough as it is, so I'm going to go over a couple of other parts here real quick. Remember I told you that this bridge here was pretty much, I think, the same piece as the one that came on the Chibsons, or the import Chinese ones. This one's looks exactly the same, except it doesn't have the stamping marks are all the same. It doesn't have the Epiphone logo on here, and the chrome on this is a little more chrome looking. This has a little more of a yellowish, nickelish kind of a finish on it. And there's some spots on this where the chrome's a little splotchier, so this one's got the Epiphone name and a little better finish job on it, but otherwise I would say they are the same part. I would say the same for this tailpiece here. This is a tailpiece, came off the same guitar that this came off of. It's that black 59 Custom Chibson, and I would say nothing on this tailpiece either, but I would say these are probably the same part as well. Now when we get up to these screws here, these are your tailpiece bolts, which have a slot head on top of them. This is off of the 59 Custom Chibson as well, this one here. And the slot here is a little bit wider than the one in this one here. Not much, but a little. And that's kind of important, because you can get a tool for these things from like StewMac that's like 80 or 90 bucks, but it might not fit all tailpiece screws, so pay attention to that. Again, the best way I've found to do it is just take a screwdriver that fits in here reasonably well, and then take a couple of pieces of masking tape and put it, you know, over the screwdriver tip, or even put it down in the slot here, because these things are usually just once you get the strings loose, these things are usually only in here finger tight. You know, they're usually not reefed down in there. So the only time you're probably really going to have a real hard time taking one of these out is if it's been in there a long time, it's been screwed all the way down, and it's maybe rusted in there. Otherwise, these things usually, when you take the tension off the tailpiece here, they usually just come right out. So anyways, that's what's going on with this screw there. I think that's about it, so as far as all that stuff goes. So I'm going to regroup a little bit here, and I'm going to come back, and we're going to see how much this thing weighs, and check the output of the pickups. 853, something like that. Okay, we're back. We're going to check the pickup output here. And we're going to go to the middle position. Top position. So 8.0 whatever, 4.17, 8.4. And that's, you know, everything's all the way open here. So there you go. Alright, well, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Like I said, the string winding's just going to be in a separate video if you feel like watching that. And, you know, sometimes that happens. Maybe you've got the same model guitar or one that's similar, and you like watching all the long, drawn-out, geeky stuff. You know, you got nothing else to do. It's late at night. You got the same thing on the way in the mail, or one sitting in the corner. So, you know, I get it. I do the same thing. So, all right. Well, there you go. I think I'm about ready to wrap it up. Like I said, I don't really. I have absolutely nothing bad to say about it. I guess you could say on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being mint and absolutely perfect, no flaws at all, it's probably, I would say, a solid 9, reasonably, or at least an 8.5. These knobs here need some attention. They need to just basically be replaced, or need some time for somebody to go in there with maybe like a knife or an awl and kind of reshape that plastic a little bit so they fit on there better. Like I said, just buy new knobs. The only defect problem with the guitar that I could find was when they drilled this hole for this screw. They got a little close to the edge there, and so this, you know, you can see it in the video. It's where the, you know, the screw's just kind of coming out of the wood, half out of the wood right there where they drilled it. They didn't really have a choice though, because the way this cover fits on here, I mean, the problem was the route was a little bit too big right here. So you could always just go in there with a small little piece of wood and glue it in there, sand it and shape it in there, color it in there a little bit, and then just re-drill the hole and put it in there if that really, really bothered you. But it doesn't bother me. It's fine. It's really not a big deal. It's more of a, you know, character flaw of the instrument than anything, given the fact that, like I said, I really couldn't find anything else wrong with it. So, okay, over here on this side of the guitar, I did check the neck with this thing, and it's got just a slight, you can just kind of see just a bare little bit of light in it, so it's got just a tiny little bit of relief in it, so that's okay. Like I said, I'm kind of going to wait for a few days and play it a few times and let these strings and everything stretch in really good before I go after the intonation and finaling up on, you know, the action and all that. Yeah. And just for the hell of it, like I said, it's a great instrument. It's well worth the money. They're asking for these things new, I think, and that brings to the thing, like I was saying before. I kind of got this to sort of compare against the imports, because I'm thinking, well, a $500 or $600 Epiphone, because in my mind I'm thinking an Epiphone's $500 or $600, because most of my life an Epiphone's been $500 or $600, and you can still get one new for around that, but they're, you know, got the modern cut in the back and light, and so they're not quite as traditional as their older ones, I would say. So that being the case, I was thinking, well, you know, $500 or $600 Epiphone would be great to compare, you know, to the three Chipsons that I ended up with. But and the reality is this, even though that was the price range of this guitar because it was used, it's really actually comparing, you know, $180, $200 import guitar to what's really retail more like a $1,200 guitar. So. But nevertheless, it's very nice, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If you're really in the market for, you know, the cheapest Les Paul, you know, type of guitar that you can find that's got the closest lineage, you know, or blessing from Gibson, you're probably going to be looking for an Epiphone, and probably maybe an Epiphone Studio, because, you know, the Studios are just a little bit cheaper because they don't have as much work and time going into them with the binding and all that. And honestly, you really can't complain about that if you just want a bass guitar anyways. The other nice thing too is when you get something that's like the Studio like that with the binding and whatever else, if they're a little more dinged up and they need a little bit more work or finishing or whatever, a little less of a pain in the ass to redo because you don't have all the bling to have to deal with. So just an FYI for you there on that. So, like I said, I know these things are selling, it looks like, for about half, you know, of what they cost brand new. And I see them in different colors. There's this color. I've seen them in, I think, green and maybe red. And who knows, you know, what all colors they maybe have them in. But okay, so with that, there you go. There's the Epiphone slash A.F.D. model guitar. Great guitar. Actually saw Guns N' Roses on their first tour. When I lived down in Phoenix, it was on their first tour, and it was the first concert date in Phoenix, and they were no show. Caught them coming back around though. They gave everybody a refund or the option to attend the second concert when they came back around, and they came back around and really good. That's a story there. Those two concerts. Anyways, awesome guitar there. Really don't know what else to say about it. Hope you enjoyed the video. A little long-winded, but like I said, who gives a crap, you know? I mean, you can watch 3-minute reels all day long and not really learn anything, but this, hopefully there's some, you know, interesting information and entertainment value there. So, all right, well, I appreciate you watching. Like I said, I'm not a guitar channel, but I do kind of enjoy doing these. It's a little bit simpler working on these and other things, and it's kind of interesting because when you're taking one thing about guitars, it doesn't matter whether it's one of 1,000 off of a assembly line or whether it just comes into your life somewhere. They always have a story to tell, you know, of how they were made. Even if they're new, of how they were made. If they're not new, of maybe where they've been and how they've been cared for and everything else. So they're definitely they're a lot like old cars and firearms and a lot of other things that kind of have their own story. So hope you enjoyed this story. Shane, Gemini Garage.